Good evening, good evening. Happy Monday, happy Monday. This is Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Time. I'm sorry, it's Pacific Time. So this is a platform where you can come and tell, your maniacal stories about CPS, the corruption within, and what you have encountered within your struggle, your journey, and definitely your path to utter deceit, coercion, and just betrayal. So I wanted to start, just basically, this is Lupus Awareness Month. This is why I have purple. I've been wearing purple since, May 1st. So I'm sorry, since April 1st. And it's a struggle in itself. This is Mother's Day month. Mother's Day month is next month. You have lupus awareness, you have CPS corruption, you have everyday living, and you have whatever other struggles you're battling on a constant daily basis, on a whim of hope and faith, thinking that everything that you're putting forth is giving you the motivation to be the person you are, the mother you are, and the parent you are in a safe, manageable, and healthy way. So, you know, I just want to take a moment of silence for our brothers and sisters that are not here, for those that are sick and suffering, and for those of y'all that keep coming back. So, just a moment of silence for our brothers and sisters that are fallen. So, I want to talk about so many things today, but I have like a bunch of different emotions. I don't know, if it's anger, if it's hurt, if it's misunderstanding, or just the deepest betrayal that you could ever encounter in a lifetime. I say it every podcast. Innocence is worth it. Innocence is worth every bit of energy, physical exertion, mental stability and structure, and knowledge like you have never, 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 never educated yourself in this situation thus far. And with all the knowledge and information that I hold along, with my legal degree, I'm still being judged based on past history, based on demographic, ethnicity, interactions prior to this, and domestic partnerships within. So I feel like as a woman of color with three misunderstood, I want to say flaws or misconceptions about me. I am the most transparent person. I am the most blunt person, and I am the most loyal person. My loyalty is genuine. And even in this fight, I have still remained loyal to those who confided in me. So I say that to say this. Again, this is Lupus Awareness Month. Lupus is an autoimmune disease that affects various things depending on what type you have. There are many types. I myself suffer with SLE, which is it affects your kidneys, your lungs, your brain, and your heart. So, in collaboration with that, gastric carcinoma and other ailments that may, impair me, like maybe honestly, judgment wise sometimes based on, medication or procedure. And this is where respite comes in. So, just because, we as parents, we need to ask for help to maintain the healthy, safe, and productive lifestyle for our innocents as they progress on their journey to adulthood. You have to be mindful. You cannot take care of them if we don't take care of us. And I'm speaking again from experience, and I keep it definitely on the eye. And I know this show is about, the things that CPS does, to these families, to our families. And, that's it in a nutshell. It is. But we too play a part. And I'm not saying, it's time to bash the parents. But I say that as a learning tool to motivate you to do better, to know better, to be better than what that paperwork says in the prior cases that you have had, maybe, past years. Maybe based on you having a label such as a mental diagnosis or depression or just ultimate slander and defamation. As long as you own your truth, your innocence will always stand firm because that is what you taught them. That is what you instilled in them. And that is what you maintained their whole journey, whether they're with you or without you. So, although, yes, these people may brainwash our children and ultimately use our deformities or our misfortunes or just the labels based on, and again, it's not just about that, it's also about the green. So, you have to be mindful the way we take care of ourselves or don't take care of ourselves, whether it be mentally or emotionally, whether it is physically and financially, or whether it is analytically or logically. Any way you put it, behavior is learned, morals and values are taught. So, you know that phrase, monkey see, monkey do? Keep in mind, our innocents are like sponges, they absorb every bit of us and then some. So when CPS, comes in and they snatch our children like thieves, kidnapping them for that almighty dollar, you must also take responsibility and ownership as well. Because we are uninformed or misinformed or uneducated or literacy fragmented. Basically, you know what is taught to you, but anything new to you is something that you want to be like an ostrich and stick your head in the sand, and hopefully it would pass you by. And by the time, you do decide to rise above, it has passed you by, so you don't have to pay it any mind and nobody will know that you don't know. But parents, be mindful. The things that our innocents are involved in, we must know the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, and we must cross all our T's and dot all of our I's 2 times because they are definitely looking for every flaw. So I know it felt like I jumped around, but I wanted to set the pace when it comes to medical ailments, mental ailments, cognitive and mobility impairments, judgment impairments, mis I want to say miscommunication or the way a person may analyze something you may not. The critical thinking. That's basically what it is, the critical thinking part. If you overthink things, you sabotage unnecessary dysfunction. When you don't resolve things or, you know, get rid of the uncomfortability or the tension and you brush it under the rug, it just allows the pyramid to keep building until it comes to a point where it's only one man standing because there's only one room. There's only room for one. It's like the Highlander, there can only be one. But you are one of those people that you take all your flaws, all your imperfections, all your faults, all your screw ups, and all your broken and burned bridges, and you shape them into puzzle pieces to fit in your fragmented life. So when it comes to ailments, whether they be physical, mental, or cognitive, you have to also be mindful. Nobody parents the wrong way. There is no wrong way to parent. There are only unsafe ways to parent. So if you allow a person to come into your home that doesn't know you, know about your illness, know the symptoms, know the side effects, know the do's and don'ts and the ins and outs, then how could they possibly tell you your way of parenting is wrong? Stand firm, parents. Our innocence is worth it. Our innocence is worth it. Even in my situation, I am exhausted. Exhausted. But I'm a mom, 25/8. 25/8. And you cannot possibly tell me, even with these case planners, because a lot of them are not licensed, we have to put that out there. Don't insult us like, you have a certification. You're a step up away from us because you have one piece of paper, probably 12 hours to get it. We can do that too, in between our quote unquote impaired parenting. But yet, you're trying to tell us how to parent without a certification that tells you how to tell us how to parent. How is that even logical? That sounds insane. And maybe you need to be evaluated. It's food for thought. So again, it seems like I jump around, and yes, I am diagnosed as bipolar. That does not mean I use it as a crutch, but sometimes I become repetitive, or sometimes I like to set the pace to give people a view from my perspective, because I think about 10 to 15 things in a maybe 5 to 10 minute interval. But I always elaborate on everything, and I always follow up with what I set the pace with, just in case my viewers are confused, because it sounds like I jump around. But again, Lupus Awareness Month. I am a lupus warrior, and I have some other friends. I know we're not supposed to say names, but I did get permission. So, Niqua, lupus warrior, rock your purple hard. Autoimmune disease, we have to stick together. For those others suffering in sicknesses, Goddess V, Justice Coalition, my sister. Visit her on Visionary V. She's the greatest. But these people have been through hell and back, including myself, and have still been mothers, been role models, been pillars of the community, have set the pace and passed laws and bills and made movements, even in their sicknesses, even in their depression, and even in their impairments. And they are also mothers, but they are amazing. And that's not to say you other mothers are not amazing. And don't forget about the fathers. Like I said, there's some great ones out there. There are some amazing ones out there. Amazing. And I'm glad that I have had a chance to meet a lot of them. My husband he's the greatest. Number one dad. Rocks. There's a couple of you other, he's, oh, pause. We got Mr. Davis to come and bless us with his presence. That is an honor to me. So I don't know exactly when he's going to jump on, but I Want to let you guys know he is amazing. He's amazing as well. Like that. He's amazing as well. He fights CPS tooth and nail, and he wins, and he doesn't take no for an answer. If you have a CPS problem, reach out to Attorney Vincent Davis. You can find him at the number below. Ask him for a consultation. You can subscribe to his school. He has a website called School. It gives you a lot of great information. And even though he is based in California, he can travel if it's worth his while. Good evening, Mr. Davis. Thank you. Welcome to Manic Mondays with Miss K.
Good evening. How are you?
I am great. Thank you. The man of the hour.
So, what's going on today?
So I was just giving my audience just a little update about this month and what it means to me. This is Lupus Awareness Month. So because I'm a lupus warrior, I just wanted to give recognition to those that are not here with us, the ones that are still fighting, and the ones that we lost. So, I just want to tell these parents innocence is worth it. Keep fighting. There is no there is no bad way to parent. It's just unsafe ways to parent. Every culture is different. Every upbringing is different, and we have to be mindful when society stigmatizes, either race, ethnicity, or culture. It's not just you. It's not just one. It's a whole. So don't take it personal.
So, what's going on with you in your case? Were you asking me some questions today
I
on my
was this
show?
morning. This morning, office hours. I was stalking you. I was.
I hope I was able to answer those.
You definitely did.
Okay, because when the people post questions, I mean, from 8 different platforms, it gets kind
Right.
of hectic keeping up with the questions and my
Well, you did.
answers. And
You did great. You did great because you answered everything and then some. So, I mean, right now with my case, we just completed fact finding, and we were supposed to get the decision March 17th, but the judge adjourned it to April 30th, where now the CPS has put in a TPR as of February 5th. So, based on me not having any communication with the children for a year now, it's been April 23rd of last year was my last physical interaction. And they have suspended all communication whatsoever. And they're even trying to like restrict me with getting access to medical, documents or progress, school attendance and report cards, and just, overall health and wellness. So I feel like I have to play Carmen San Diego to get what is legally and rightfully my right.
are your children with relatives or family friends?
Absolutely not. She's getting on my nerve is what she's getting. But she's not a family friend. She's not a blood relative. She's not conducive to reunification. She's just not. And in the beginning, everything was good with her because she's a friend of my ex-husband's. So, it kind of worked in his favor. So, I wasn't complaining in the beginning because it was a cordial thing. But once she got caught doing something she wasn't supposed to do and threw me under the bus, it's like now everything gets snatched from me and you just get talked to.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to do things that are not legal for kinship in New York City. There are certain do's and don'ts when you're not a kinship relative that you cannot do with a foster child, such as alter their appearance, cutting their hair,
Mm-hmm.
piercing their ears, putting them on social media, which she has done more than once. And I have proven that with contempt. And yet it was not heard or it was dismissed.
Okay. Who's representing you these days?
I have a retained attorney right now.
Okay.
But the unfortunate problem with that is she stayed on until the fact finding, until my testimony was complete, but ultimately went on maternity leave. So now I had someone that was assigned to me who is not retained. And you can understand now why I need to adjourn the April 30th appearance for the decision for the fact finding because I don't have adequate counsel. I refuse to stand up there and go through a TPR motion when this man does not even know what is going on.
Are they in the same firm?
No, absolutely
No.
not. No. He didn't even read the first, he didn't read even the first or second modules. He jumps to the fourth module and then he goes, well, why didn't you ever put in a 1028? Hello, sir. We're past that time. We're in fact finding. I have had no relationship with the children for literally 374 days. And then they've been out of my home for 791 days.
Have you ever thought about filing a complaint with the Department of Health and Human Services?
Definitely did that last year when you told me to.
Okay,
Filed a
and,
complaint.
and what happened?
They said they don't deal with CPS cases that have any other any other criminal activity or family activity attached. Because I do have a criminal case where I'm the victim with within my ex-husband assaulting me, and that's how the case opened.
Hmm.
So because I have a criminal case as the victim and my child is the victim, but they're giving him access with no parentage, and nobody wants to hear what I'm saying. So I can't really get any leadway. And again, this attorney is not advocating for me, and I can't put the motions in myself because the allegation is mental impairment. So I can't even write my own motions when I have my own legal degree.
Interesting. What a legal quagmire you're in. Well, did you or your audience have any questions for me this evening?
I definitely do have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
The writ of quorum nobis. Now, I've
Well,
heard
hold
you
it.
say that.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's unique to California. You're in
No,
New
it's four
you're in
states.
New Okay, you're in New
New
York,
York.
right? Is
It's
it?
here.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
It is here. So it is here on a criminal writ as well as family dependency writ based on three different clauses. It either has to stipulate a past history of oh my gosh, look around this with my tongue. It's a consistent thing, something that is consistent, that is predatory. I can't remember exactly what the word was. It'll come to me. But it was like in a consistent nature. If you have a history of neglect proceedings within, I think it's a 15 to 20-year stature, that you fall within that criteria to write that writ in any module. Or if you've had any 730 examinations and they were admissible to the court to determine whether you were fit or unfit. And the third one is to declare bias or conflict of interest based on malice of prior history. So those are the only three statutes that is allowed to be written on, and I fit one of those criteria.
So, are you preparing it or having an attorney
I
work
have
with you?
I have already prepared it, Mr. Davis, and this is what, excuse my language, it pisses me off because when I went to submit it, it was not, it wasn't even taken. They wouldn't even allow me to file it based on me having representation, and the allegation is mental impairment. So I cannot legally submit a document without somebody either being a witness or having it proofread and signed off with certified transcript.
Your attorney wouldn't do that for you?
She's on maternity leave. And like I said, because this man is not getting money from me, it's not a priority. And, I can't reach him Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So I don't know how else to reach him. I've sent him 32 messages, 11 emails.
Wow, and he's not responding?
And we have, like I said, we have the trial, the decision for fact finding coming up, where the dispo was already established that the things that they outlined on the dispo, I'm already compliant in, with the exception of signing a HIPAA. And then we already established the first day when you said to sign a HIPAA, my attorney objected, and that was the end of that.
Right, right. What question do you want to ask me about writ of quorum nobis?
Now, once I do get it submitted and heard, is there a way, because I know I've seen it somewhere in California law, and I'm not sure. I haven't found it in New York yet, but I'm just going to listen as if it was in California. Um, Basically, if the writ goes in, can I be penalized in the criminal case as trying to use retaliation to get, the person that initiated the case, in my eyes, so they say, is that retaliation and considered custodial interference?
I couldn't answer that question. That's a question unique to uh, New York law.
That's what I tried to do. Nobody can
But
answer it. Not
if
even the
you
Mike DeCesario, the old DA.
oh, you talked to him.
Absolutely. That's New York law
Yeah.
guy.
If you did it here in California, I mean, it would be my opinion that it could not be used against you. But I
On
don't
what
know
grounds?
New York law. On what grounds?
Yeah, that it couldn't be used against me. I would want to know like what would be the stipulations that it could not be used and what on what grounds.
I don't think it constitutes a crime because whenever you are trying to do something within the legal system, there are, I don't want to say call it immunities, but you have certain what they call litigation privileges, right? And
Right.
it doesn't sound like you're doing it for any malicious, with any malicious intent.
And I hear you say that, but when the children's guardian ad litem says, and I quote, she has a win at all cost attitude and tends to act erratic and make the children destabilize when she has a delusion or disassociation with reality. End quote.
Hmm. How old are the kids now?
My daughter just turned 12 and I have a 9-year old.
Okay.
And they live 15 minutes up the road.
With a person who you initially selected.
That would be a good fit because she knew of us. I'm friends with her son. And her son is my ex-husband's best friend. That's what that is. But
I
all
see.
of this is about greenbacks. It really is because at the disposition hearing from the very beginning, Mr. Davis, it was said, none of the people Miss Richardson asked to have explored can financially do what, Boom Boom does, in a sense. So basically, my children are here living in squalor. Are you kidding me? They have no
Mm.
parentage established for this person, Mr. Davis. No DNA, no surname affiliation, no order of affiliation, no acknowledgement of paternity. He's not on the birth certificate and he has no relationship with the children for the first 5 years of either one of their lives. So where does that stipulate any type of parentage and give you any right based on there not being any matrimonial connection when this case came about?
Have you filed any appeals?
I have two, and they have not been heard based on the TPR, based on the fact finding, been dragged out for 74 days. They have violated my due process tremendously, tremendously, my civil rights tremendously.
Do you plan on pursuing that in some type of civil rights action?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very good. Okay. Well, I just wanted to pop on and
I
say
have
hello
one
to
more
you.
question. One more
Uh huh.
question, please, before you go. If I know once they submit the TPR and it's heard, it is 120 days, I know in New York. But during that process, I've never experienced that. I've never watched it, and I have not seen anything on any platform to where I know you give the step by step, but what would be a reason, being that they sever the reunification, what would be another reason if they're not allowing me to have the emergency ICPC or the bonding study?
Have you made a motion for either of those?
Yes, I have. And I had a bonding study. The first 3 months, the first 94 days of the removal, I paid for it. $437 out of my pocket. They would not admit it as evidence for part of the discovery. So now what do I do?
Well, why wouldn't they admit it?
Because they said it wasn't somewhere that they referred me to and they could possibly be cited
Well,
for uncertified documentation, but it came from a state transcribing facility that writes certified documents.
well, did the judge say that or did CPS say that?
CPS said that, and based on the judge not even allowing it to be heard because they perjured themselves about something else, it was never even brought up.
Hmm. You or your attorney should try to bring it up and introduce it into evidence. And if he denies it, then you have it there. It's a record for the appeal.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to make sure. I just needed it on the record stated that it was denied so I could start over.
Right. But you gotta introduce it. They'll deny it, but
So
say you
introduce
would
it
like
where?
it
The TPR?
lodged. Yeah.
Okay.
Or with a three. I don't know what you guys call 388 petitions,
388,
but
360, 366 point, 388. No, it's the same thing, 388,
so what you should
388.8.
What you should do is make sure that it's part of the record, so that when you appeal, the Court of Appeals will see that document.
So do I admit it? Do I submit it after their petition is heard for the TPR, or do I beat them to the part? Like, because
I don't know. You'd have to ask one of those New York attorneys that question,
okay,
but definitely part of that hearing, I would think.
okay, thank
All
you.
right, all
Well,
righty.
thank you so much, Mr. Davis.
All righty.
Remember,
I'll talk.
guys, if you guys have a problem with CPS, reach out to Mr. Vincent Davis. He is there 24 hours, 7 days a week. Someone will answer your call. And I want to thank him again for being our guest and honoring us with his presence. He is amazing, guys. Check him out. He
Thank you.
rocks. Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
so
Davis.
much.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye. So, like I was saying, guys, like I said, Mr. Davis is amazing. I've been following that man for almost 5 years, and he has taught me so much to the point where it made me want to show these people what I was made of. I'm not that same person that is outlined on that documentation 10 years ago. I have grown and matured drastically and dramatically. I did a full metamorphosis, a full metamorphosis. I left that cocoon as that ugly caterpillar and became a beautiful butterfly to spread my wings. So, parents, don't give up. The fight is tough. There's been many a times that I wanted to just, say, screw it. But you can't say that to innocence. Keep telling our parents, our babies, our little humans are the only thing that we did perfectly. Because nobody's perfect, but our innocence is worth it and it will always, always, always be perfect. So even though these people come in and they corrupt our little humans with betrayal, lies, and coercion, know who you are. Know what you've taught your children and know that they have those morals and values that you've instilled in them. And even though it may take some time to rise to the surface, like the great poet said, Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better. And I have learned every mishap is not a letdown. For me, every mishap is motivation for me to move mountains and make molehills. I make mountains out of molehills and make minute things major, mastered, and magical. So with that being said, I don't know if she's there. D, are you there? Tanita? Oh, that was their name, right? I don't know if she chimed in. I guess not. All right. So I thought I was gonna have somebody else to speak on, but I don't know if Breeze is out there. If anybody's out there want to chime in and speak on something that they may know. But I didn't see my Betty Joe today. She didn't chime in. Where are you, Betty Joe? Well, I guess this is when, of course, my better half, it's his chance to let you guys know, again, the crazy things that happen with the custodial and non custodial parent and the way CPS deals with the non offending parent as opposed to the offending parent, but when the roles are reversed. So the offending parent seems to keep getting all the consideration, all the grace, all the turn your heads, all the don't worry about it. But now it's time to worry because it's never about, I'm always the wife, my table always full. So I say that with grace. And I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm better than. because everybody's one paycheck away from being homeless. Everyone. So I say that to say this. My husband is an amazing dad. From what I've seen within the time we've been together, I don't know what went on prior to me coming into his life, but I take all the cubs with all the love, whether mine, yours, his, hers. They're ours. So, with that being said, I want to introduce my husband, Mr. Jordan, to tell you a little bit of what has been going on with his maniacal situation and how CPS is just letting neglect happen way down in the dirty. Introduce it, Mr. Jordan.
What's going on, everybody? Good to be back again. Just to give you a little bit of update on what's been going on. Really, basically the same story. You know, over and over again. Like my wife said, lots of corruption going on. Uh, I've been even told that you know that the sheriffs and the police they would no longer do wellness checks for me when when I'm unable to reach out to my son and just communicate with him due to the fact that his mother refuses my phone call, which is very insane to me when I stay so far away. I stay 7.5 hours away from my son, from our son. And, he's need my guidance. So like she said, like my wife said, she wasn't always the same. A lot of us weren't always the same. Me myself, in fact, I have changed a whole lot in a little bit of time, and I owe a lot of that to my wife. You know, and I guess we both have learned from each other. And the one thing that I do know is that having her in my corner is no way that I could ever give up the fight. It's impossible. Same thing with her. No way she can give up with me in her corner. Cause I'm gonna push her and I'm gonna always make sure that she runs to the end of that tunnel and get our girls back and get our son here. But that's what it's all about. You know, it's all about the kids. It's all about the nurturing and loving of them, educating, just being parents to them. And I know I'm probably not the only father out here that's going through this. It's probably quite a few. Um, if I was to offer any advice, I would say whatever you don't know, just research it and reach out to somebody else that probably possibly will know it. Because in this fight, having anything at your fingertips is knowledgeable, and it could be taken into consideration when you in face of when you face to face with a judge. With that being said, I got an up and coming custody case. I'm very excited. My face don't look like it, but I'm very excited. Um, at the same time, I'm not trying to overthink it, and just patiently just waiting for that time to come. I missed out on my parenting time, but you know, it's many more days to come. That's how I feel. I really feel like that. At the end of the day, that I'm gonna bring my son home. Just based upon the negligence, that's been dated, printed out, you know. It's almost like a slam dunk. Easy. On a wide open fast break. It's like the evidence that's out there is it just suggests that, he would be better off with us. And like my wife was telling you, I've been running into a couple of brick walls, couple of hurdles, but I just chisel my way through them, or either just jump over them. You know, Sometimes I find myself about to lose my cool, but then I realize it's a bigger prize that I'm fighting for, that we fighting for. So it's like, I don't know if a lot of you people watch the news, and it's like a lot of chaotic things going on in the world. And I guess I feel it's right to touch bases on it, being that this is Manic Mondays. With that being said, you got innocent kids being, just taken away from people that they've been knowing their whole lives. And basically is when you stack up the evidence, the facts don't add up, and it just all equal out to one equation that corruption leads to money. So it's not about love at all, and it's not about it's not about family structure or none of that. It's all about divide and conquer, separation, you know. But, you know, here we are. The fight must go on. They say every dog has his day. I'm waiting on mine. you know. Um, Shout outs to my wife. She's great. More people should tune in and support her. You definitely learn something. No, I have. I've learned a whole lot. And it's like we form like a perfect union, a perfect team. Like she picks up where I leave off at.
And that was just some insight from Mr. Jordan from a father's perspective. And fathers, just know y'all not alone. There's some great ones out there. Just keep fighting. Our innocence is worth it. And, I just want to touch on some of the do's and don'ts. In New York City, a foster parent that is not kinship or relative cannot do certain things, such as alter the child's appearance, whether it be cutting their hair, piercing their ears, allowing them to wear makeup, or doing any type of, reconstruction. As far as social media, no foster parent in New York City is allowed to put any foster child on social media. One, for safety reasons, and two, because it is illegal. Three, a foster parent in New York City cannot make medical or therapeutic decisions for your child if your parental rights are intact, like mine. Four, foster parents in New York City cannot give consent for psychotropic medication or psychiatric evaluations. If for any reason they cannot obtain consent from the legal parent, that would be me in a sense, all rights intact, you must obtain either a warrant or an implied consent through the commissioner for the children out here in New York City. And there's a couple more, but those are, the major ones. And the most important one to me, besides health and wellness, is education. No foster parent in New York City that is not kinship cannot make, change, amend, or imply any changes to any educational plan, goals, behaviors, or I want to say checklists or pathways for succession. If a child is struggling in certain subjects, reach out to the birth parent, especially if their rights are intact. Whether it's a courtesy or not, for those of y'all that are parents, how dare y'all? From one parent to another, from one female to another, from one human being to another. How could you frown down at me when you don't know the situation, or you only know what they want you to know and they don't want us to know you guys? But see, the problem with that is it makes it very hard to fulfill that goal of return to parent, especially if you're getting inadequate information or false statements. And before these corrupt, you know, baby snatchers decide that they actually want to listen, most of the time they assume it's too late. It is never too late, parents. It is never too late to fight for our innocence. It is worth it. Perfection is worth it. Remember, we get tired, we get overwhelmed, we get frustrated, we get angry, we get annoyed, we get anxiety, and we get beat down, pushed down, knocked down, run over, trampled, and dragged. But we are parents 25/8. So, with my situation, I'm a little insulted about the way the new case planning team has interjected their self into my journey of dysfunction with these agencies and CPS as a whole entity, corroborating all this deceit and corruption. But that's okay, because karma is a bad, excuse my language, she's a bad bitch, because she will definitely be in total control of her happiness. And I know we have a few minutes left, but as usual, my message has been conveyed. We are here every Monday, same time, same place, y'all. This is Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Parents, keep fighting. It's worth it. Innocence is worth it. Grace.